Jihad is not what you think. To many Muslims, jihad is a deeply spiritual concept. The term jihad originates from the Arabic word jahada, meaning to strive or struggle. For believers, this struggle often refers to the personal, internal battle against sin. But how did a term signifying personal spiritual effort evolve into the often misunderstood notion of holy war? Let's start with the Quran, Islam's central religious text. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 190 states, "Fight in the way of Allah those who fight you but do not transgress. Indeed, Allah does not like transgressors." Here the directive is clear. Any form of struggle must adhere to strict ethical guidelines. Historical context is essential. When Prophet Muhammad received these revelations in the 7th century, Muslims were a marginalized community in Mecca, frequently persecuted and driven to defend their lives and beliefs. Jihad, in this sense, was a means of protection, not aggression. Islamic history provides concrete examples of the doctrine's peaceful dimension. The Treaty of Hudaybiyah, signed in 628 CE, is a prime case. Despite being in a position of strength, Prophet Muhammad chose diplomacy over conflict with the Quraysh tribe, underscoring the Quranic principle of peace over war. This treaty allowed Muslims to practice their faith without fear of attack. The Quran, complemented by hadiths, sayings and actions of Prophet Muhammad, emphasizes the greater jihad, or jihad al-nafs, the inner struggle against one's base desires. Sahih Muslim, one of the most authentic collections of hadith, records the Prophet saying after a battle, "We have returned from the lesser jihad to the greater jihad," referring to the battle against one's ego. Yet the term jihad has been co-opted by extremist groups to justify violence, leading to widespread misconception. A 2015 study by the Pew Research Center found that while most Muslims worldwide reject extremist interpretations, 57% of US adults associate jihad with violence. This misconception arises partly from the selective quotation and interpretation of Quranic verses. For instance, Surah At-Tawbah, verse 9-5, known as the verse of the sword, is often cited out of context. However, historical records show this verse was revealed during a time of war, addressing specific treaties violated by the Quraysh, and not as a blanket endorsement of violence. Critics may argue that the presence of any violent language in religious texts implies an endorsement of conflict. However, an examination of religious doctrines worldwide reveals similar complexities. For instance, the Bible contains verses that, if taken literally and out of context, could also be seen as endorsing violence. This highlights the necessity of interpreting religious texts within their historical and cultural contexts. Moreover, Islamic jurisprudence, or Sharia, developed through scholarly consensus, underscores the importance of peace and justice. Institutions like Al-Azhar University in Cairo, one of the oldest and most respected centers of Islamic learning, consistently teach that jihad, as warfare, is strictly defensive. According to a 2013 study by the University of Chicago, 72% of Islamic scholars worldwide support this interpretation, emphasizing diplomacy and coexistence. Let's consider the counter-argument. Some assert that jihad's violent application is not a distortion, but a legitimate interpretation. Proponents of this view point to historical Islamic empires expanding through conquest. However, historians like Karen Armstrong argue that these expansions were driven by political motivations common to empires throughout history, rather than a religious mandate for violence. The notion that Islam inherently promotes violence is a simplistic reading that ignores the multifaceted nature of historical events. Thus, the claim that jihad primarily signifies holy war is not supported by core Islamic teachings or historical evidence. It is a narrative perpetuated by those who seek to exploit religion for political gain. The true essence of jihad, as outlined in Islamic theology, is a complex, multidimensional concept encompassing personal, spiritual, and social struggles. So is jihad a misunderstood doctrine rather than a call to arms? Arms, 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 arms.